me, and I generally think he did, but he also was sexually assaulting me, and it took me, it took me like 7-8 years. I'm still realizing how abusive our relationship was, even myself. But after him and I broke up, I had probably about maybe a year and a half, 2 years where I was continuing the abuse. I was sleeping with, people, like, I remember the guys that I was with. I have no idea who their names are. There was one time where I almost got sexually assaulted for a third time. I put myself back in that environment, and it's because I had the belief that I was just here to be abused. And I don't know how I changed that. I think I got to a point where I saw the abuse when I lived with my mom, the way she abused me when I was a child. And it was still, she is still the same person that she was when I was in 8th grade. The same sayings, the same ranting and raving, just the same. I almost felt like I was in the past. So just like weeks ago, she was still abusive and to me. And it's gotten to a point where I've gotten so bloody. I see it as when I'm around my mother and when I was around, or at least now, like if I saw, like a friend or any of these people that have been abusive towards me, I don't run anymore. And I don't fight. I stand my ground, and I feel like I have to put on full armor. I always thought of a character from Fate Stay Night or Fate Zero, and her name is Saber. And she is a knight, but she's a woman, and her armor is beautiful. And she's what kept me going. And I'm surprised I don't have a picture of her up. I probably should put up a picture. But those are the things that have kept me alive. And I actually want to do a series I've been thinking about on my social media called What It Takes to Be a Warrior. Because I definitely am one.
Yeah.
But I got to the point where I was so bloody and so bruised. And with these past 2 deaths in my family, where I'm like, I need to retreat. And that there's a time in every single moment in history and war where a warrior knows where they're at in their body, their emotions, their mental state, and they have to pull back. Because if they don't pull back, they're going to lose themselves, and they're going to lose their whole troop, their whole army. And I wanted to go into the military when I was younger, but it got to a point where I'm not putting up with this anymore. I don't want to be abused anymore. I don't want to be in this victimhood, but it's hard when that's what I've grown up in. And I still revert back to that, but I have to gently tell myself that you're not a victim right now. Even like with my mom being abusive, like there was one thing she said to me recently, and it ate me up for 3 weeks. And I came to a point yesterday where I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. I don't know what I'm going to tell her. I don't know when I'm going to tell her it. But I don't have to respond to her. And that, oh my gosh, it got to the point psychologically with my mother that I would kill somebody for her. I would do anything she asked of me. And that's not healthy. No. That tells me I don't even have control of my mind anymore.
Well, so there's several things here, right? So first, let's back up to this construct of being able to really set boundaries is what you just shared, right?
Yeah.
Your ability to say, oh, no, this is not okay for me, and I'm going to put on my armor, or I'm going to separate myself from this situation. I'm not doing this anymore, right? That is the adult you. That's that prefrontal cortex that's showing up for you to take care of that emotional center, right? And to say to that younger portion of you, no, I'm here now. I don't have to let you be abused anymore. I can, the adult me is here. The adult you wasn't there then. So that younger version of you, that younger you literally had no choice. You had no power. Now you have choice, you have power, right? This is very important to recognize that you're doing because of many things. First of all, it's proof of concept. You can do this, right? Adult you can nurture, love, and reparent, if you will, that younger version of yourself. Or we could say it in more mindful terms, the adult you can allow yourself to be present with the distress of your emotions, even if it means, or even if they're amplified when you set a boundary, right? Because it's hard when you're, and I put this in air quotes, codependent. It's not really a term that we use often anymore. Really, I use it as I say when you're a trauma survivor, because this codependent term, really what that means is I subjugate myself for the other.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's not codependent. That's the echo of trauma. Trauma is subjugating self for other, right? The other says you will subjugate to whatever I am, even if it violates you. Even whatever I want, you're going to, submit to. That is trauma. That is abuse. That's not codependence.
Wow,
right?
That's so cool because, oh my gosh, this is so cool because I was doing that when my mother was here. I was doing that and she did not like it. Mm-hmm. She kept telling me, because my brother's incarcerated and so it's his birthday. Mm-hmm. And she's like, I want you to sign this card. Remember, she's on my turf. Mm-hmm. I'm not on her turf anymore. See, I studied for 9 months narcissism. I was a part of a Reddit group. I studied it like the back of my hand. And I don't know if she's covert, I don't know, but she has very narcissistic behavior. And it's because she grew up and she didn't get the attention, the support, the love, the nurturing, anything that a child should need in development in regards to activities and hobbies and what do you love and what's your favorite color. It was very much living with the drill sergeant. And so when she came over, we went shopping. She was like, I want you to sign this card. I want you to sign the card. She kept repeating herself. And I said, I don't want to right now. And it's funny because I almost started hearing, now that I think back of it, my inner child saying, I don't want to, mommy, kind of, right? But she was saying it to me, like, I don't want to. And so I was telling my mom very sternly, I don't want to sign the card right now. I'm looking at these things, right? And she just kept and kept. And I said, Mom, I'm looking at these things right now. I don't want to sign the card. And when I was ready, I signed the card. And so the first thing that my mother was told by her counselor is stop telling your daughter what to do. My father understood how to be my parent and how to be my friend. There was a lot of the time that I had to parent both of my parents. So on top of the abuse as a child, I also had that thrown onto my plate of you're going to emotionally support me because I feel bad. I feel like a bad mother for divorcing your dad, or I feel this, or I feel that.
Yeah. So that is abuse, right? That's not in addition to it. That's also abuse.
Oh,
right?
Of course. Yeah,
and
no.
Absolutely. Congratulations to you for standing up and setting those boundaries. And that's the ticket. Like, how do you deal with a narcissist? You set clear boundaries with them. You reiterate, right, the directive when they violate the boundary, right? And if they continue to violate the boundary, then you set a firmer boundary, which doesn't necessarily involve aggression, but it might involve distance. Since you're continuing to violate the boundary that I've said, I love you, but you're going to need to go home now and we can talk tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right? And that's perfectly okay. It's very hard to do because the inner child, right, or that emotional center might get flooded with fear. They might be like, oh my gosh, person over here, whoever that person is, right, whoever the symbol of the abuse is going to get angry. They're going to, and they may. Narcissists will get angry.
Oh, she will. I already know how she would respond. I already know. I've seen her inner child fully come out. Yeah. I was like floored when I first saw it because my mom was no longer my mom. It was her inner child. So how she's going to respond is, you don't love me. You don't want me here. And that's not true.
Correct. So that's the projection of her mind.
Yeah.
Right. And so this is very important to be aware of, because we are not our minds.
Yeah.
Right. So when our mind projects, oh my gosh, I can't say this because it's too scary. Or when our mind projects, you know what, I'm doing fine. I don't need to take this medication. Or when our mind projects, right? 'Cause, I mean, I don't know about you, but my mind has done that I fought with myself for decades to finally just give up and take my antidepressant medications.
Oh, you can ask my whole family and my friends. They're over it. They're like, oh, here you go again, back on your BS of, oh, I don't need medication. I've been on 12 different medications, and I've finally found something that's low dose, and that it's very difficult because I get triggered taking medication, but I take it with my vitamins. I have them around the same time, and it's getting better. I still